Absheni, bonjour, dumelang, aye, molweni, sunborn. Greetings. My name is Buyanizwane. I am delighted to be able to engage with you as an agripreneur. You are about to be able to venture into a discussion on business modeling. It's a very critical subject for us to go into because each and every one of us involved in business have to be able to find a model that works well for us. I know for a fact that you are responding to specific desires and specific needs in the marketplace. You have chosen to be a part of this program. You have been selected to be a part of this program. You will take it to the end because you are determined to make a difference. I want to believe that you are in this program by choice and you are deliberate. You are in a sector that matters so much in lives and livelihoods of humanity. You are in an industry that sets the tone for what will happen longer term in the value chain of the things that people part with money for in all economies. And as you sit through this program, you may very well have been thinking what strategies you're going to be able to adopt to begin in the venture as an agripreneur, to develop much further, to grow your business, and maybe to have it ready to be sold out for someone or to merge with another entity. Developing your strategy in an environment that is post-pandemic requires of us to be able to go back to what was pre-pandemic and then reflect on what was happening during the 2 years of the pandemic, which to a large extent dictated where we would be able to do business, how we would be able to do business, and indeed find ourselves becoming influenced even in the pricing of our commodities and the products that we produce. This being the case, places us in a situation where strategy development is going to be a deliberate exercise that we go into very consciously. You may want to be able to ask yourself, what do you want your business to become in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? And as an entrepreneur, you will have the strategy in your mind and you will be able to put it down in writing. What becomes absolutely vital is that you are able to execute your own strategy. And you surround yourself with people who are going to help you to execute on that strategy. And that enterprise that you're looking after, that you've set up with so much passion, will need to be sustained. And sustained such that it is inheritable by whoever your heirs and heiresses are going to be. But also, it is sustainable in such a manner that it can be bought by others or they may become shareholders in your business. And when they do so, they afford you an opportunity to realize what is possible when you have your destiny in your own hands and not others dictating the path you should follow. Thinking through that, I'd like for you to be able to consider in business modeling that there are going to be various factors we will need to be bringing to our attention. We will be looking into what was indeed before technology overtook many of the things that we do. It is important to be able to consider that, but we cannot behave as though technology is not here. And we definitely will need to be innovative, just as the pandemic environment forced us to dig inside of ourselves and find new and better ways of conducting business so that we would be able to go beyond survival and get to thrive. Being a part of this program is an opportunity that will help you to review what you've been doing and plan ahead for an even better enterprise that others would be a part of. I am convinced you have particular understanding of the industry sector. And being part of this program will just extend your knowledge and understanding of better ways to be a player that can be reckoned with in the sector. What we will be seeking to be able to achieve with you as faculty is to be able to contribute information that will help you to make better choices and even make smarter decisions about the business. Now, short term, medium term, and long term. It is also vital for us to be able to look for ways in which growing the business is going to be a deliberate exercise, in what kind of growth you want to be participating in and in fact activating. What will always become important is to ensure that the business you have, the enterprise you've set up, or the enterprise you have acquired becomes a sustainable one. Because businesses that can be sustainable will attract investment of others and also attract talent, because people would want to be a part of a winning business. I want to believe, therefore, that your participation in this program and taking it forward will be about turning a winner in you that others will be able to learn from. Agility is an attribute that helps us to navigate difficult and different terrains. Indeed, Charles Darwin stated, "It is not the fastest nor the fittest of species that survive. It is the most adaptive." Our ability to be able to adapt in the terrains that have been defined by the pandemic have enabled us to be engaging with one another as we are right now. At the same time, during 2020, Jeff Henderson released a very instructive book that helps us to put on a new lens in the way in which we define what we do in any sector of business. He asks us to be able to look into not so much about being the best in the world, but being best for the world. Not being best in the sector, but being best for the sector. And he challenges us to be able to look into at least 4 key stakeholders that are critical for the success of any enterprise. Every business operates within society. So working from the outside in, we need to start off and say, how can my enterprise be good for society? How can it be good for the customer? And then, how can this business that I'm involved in make my team feel good about itself and continue to do good for others? At the same time, I need to be able to look into that how I do business and the business that I'm in is good for me. It's not about being selfish, but it's about ensuring that there is self-care, and with that in place, it is possible for me to be able to wake up every day with clarity of purpose and pursue profitability as secondary, because purpose drives everything we do. Our why is clear, and when our why is clear, the how and the what will follow with the greatest of ease. Enterprises become effective when they have done a thorough diagnosis of what are the needs out in the marketplace, who is responding to those needs, and what are the kind of results that are presently being delivered. In the determination of the gap between what it is that is required and what is currently being offered, the opportunity to be able to set up your business stands out. It is from there, therefore, that purpose for your business becomes clearer. And purpose achieved with excellence makes the vision become something we can pursue. And a vision is that which we are working towards, out of reach, but inside. To do it well, we need to define for ourselves the values we're going to live by. And the values do not get to be a shopping list that we use because everybody else has got values. They're defined by that which we value. And when we have clarified our values and we've determined for ourselves how we will distinguish ourselves in our conduct in the marketplace, the paradigm that defines who we are, we can then formulate a strategy. And this session is about looking into the formulation of your business strategy in a manner that helps you to not just be competitive, but to also be effective in your execution of that for which you established your business. Obviously, there will be a necessity for you to have clear processes that you can utilize on a consistent basis, and you will need to be able to structure yourself. Too often, enterprises have got structure before strategy, but we want to emphasize right here that it is your strategy that should define how you structure yourself. In an environment of COVID-19, we've been forced to be able to structure ourselves and package even our products in a manner that ensures greater safety for the users. Systems that we use are critical. When we define them very, very well, they enable the business to operate without us being the key person all the time. I think it's also important for us to be able to consider, as we operate in this environment and we look into the future, what kind of behavior will our business be associated with? It is that which we promote and that which we do not allow space for that determines the culture of our organization. I want to challenge you to be able to really contemplate what culture will be synonymous with your organization. With so many continuously operating in a space of excuses, what are you doing to be able to overcome the challenges of the world around you? Since the late 1970s, the holy grail of business strategy has been the application of the 5 forces that shape strategy introduced by Harvard business professor Michael E. Porter. All strategies have made reference back to that, with a framing that was based on beating the competition, because there is supposedly a fierce rivalry amongst players, as it were. The operation of the last 2 decades has been revised as we look into finding ways in which we're not about beating the competition, but about making the competition irrelevant. If nothing else, COVID-19 got us into just that space where we've needed to be able to think differently, create new demands, and really disprove the trade-off that is there around what value is being provided versus at what cost. We've come to appreciate that there is a need for us to be able to disrupt the marketplace or be disrupted. In fact, be rendered totally irrelevant. Professors from INSEAD, W. Chen Kim, and Renee Mabone introduced the concept of the blue ocean strategy. And we would want to be able to refer to that because it gives us angles on which we could be able to enter into the marketplace that may be highly contested, but we go into it and be truly successful. There are at least 4 actions that they propose we need to be able to look into if we are going to not worry about capturing the existing demand, that we're not going to worry about making the trade-off between value and cost. As we move from the holy grail of the 5 forces that shape strategy and embrace the 4-action framework proposed in the blue ocean strategy, we get to be both pain relievers and gain creators. We become pain relievers when we look into the industry and consider which factors are taken for granted that should really be eliminated. And we also look into factors that should be reduced well below the industry standard. As we do so, we open up opportunities for us to be able to become great gain creators. How do we do that? We get to look into factors that we know in our experience should be raised well above the industry standard, and we look for opportunities as this situation of operating within the pandemic has provided for us. We begin to create those things that had never been offered before. By doing so, we create gains for ourselves, for our customers, for the whole stakeholder base that we have been servicing or are seeking to service into the future. Put differently, eliminating and reducing are the factors that have to do and focus themselves on cost management and cost containment. While on the other hand, raising and creating is about increasing value and making things come through for the better. It is for this reason, therefore, that I'd like to encourage you to take seriously, spend some time reviewing your business. And next thing we do is an activity that I want you to be able to engage with wholeheartedly, because it will mean a difference between success and a repeat of what may have been done by others but did not yield the results that they are proud of, and you should not fall prey of the same. I'd like for you to take some time, really, now look into your existing business, your enterprise, and check for yourself. Returning to the work of Jeff Henderson, we begin to appreciate that working from the outside in, and as an entrepreneur, you lead the business. As you lead the business, you need to pay attention to what's happening to society, the impact of your business to society at large, while at the same time ensuring that you take good care of you. Because if the business succeeds, but you are not able to enjoy the fruit thereof, it is actually a failure. You hire people to be able to take care of what's happening at a customer level and at a team level. We call those managers. But of course, if it is to be that your business is still small, you may find that you're needing to be able to play both leader and manager. If that is the case, pay attention to what's happening from society in terms of the needs that they have. Convert those who are customers and non-customers to choose to work with you, to choose your products or your services. And as you do so, come back to your team to be able to establish from them what they have heard out of their own intelligence and visiting out there in the client space, what it is that we should be able to provide that others are not providing, or what we could provide better than everybody else out in the marketplace. Literary author and poet George Bernard Shaw many years ago articulated that this is true joy in life. Being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. That links back to what we just heard from Jeff Henderson. Being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown on the scrap heap. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish, little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. That is extracting from society and nature. He further says, life is no brief candle to me. It's sort of a splendid torch which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. This is about legacy. When you think about the sustainability of your business, this is where your joy will be. When your grandchildren look back with pride at what you have begun and what you have established, and it has had impact on so many people out there. As we've emerged out of the COVID-19 pandemic operating environment, we know that it has taken serious determination to go one further. I want to encourage you to be able to take this even further and borrow from the instructive words coming out of Booker T. Washington. Our success should not be measured so much on the position that we may have reached by now, but it should be measured on the obstacles that we've had to overcome to get here. Maybe it's time for you to pat yourself on the shoulder for your dogged determination that has taken you to where you are right now. I'd like to believe that this introduction has been helpful and instructive in terms of whetting your appetite on business modeling as we go forward.